Why Argentina's military junta kidnapped babies. Argentina's dictatorship waged war on its own people. They were thrown into the sea from planes. The military slaughtered 30,000 people and kidnapped thousands of their babies. This human tragedy is felt to this day. The year 1976 marked Operation Condor in Argentina. The U.S. supported and sponsored it. The military overthrew Isabel Perón's administration. She was the world's first female Republican head of state. The military dictatorship was called Proceso. Their actions became known as the Dirty War. The junta carried out torture and terrorism. People with communist and socialist views were in mortal danger. The same applied to intellectuals and activists. They were officially declared terrorists. They were executed with machine guns. They were thrown into mass graves. They were also drugged and dropped from airplanes. This generation came to be called Desaparecidos. It stands for the missing. The junta never documented its atrocities. They killed a total of 30,000 people. People were literally wiped out, but their families knew they existed. They knew about the death flights, and they desperately looked for their relatives. Children didn't escape punishment either. Pregnant women weren't killed right away. The junta waited for them to give birth. The children were taken away. Sometimes the military kept them as trophies. 500 kids were placed with other families. The rest were abandoned in orphanages or trafficked. It was the ultimate erasure. In 1977, people began to protest. Mothers marched to the Plaza de Mayo every week. They were called Las Locas, mad women. The junta feared a mass reaction. Many women were kidnapped and killed. The founders of the movement were the main targets. Azucena Villaflor was one of them. She was killed in December 1977. Her body was dumped in a mass grave. The family didn't find out about it until 8 years later. Argentina hosted the 1978 World Cup. It was a perfect occasion for the protesters. They sought to attract international attention. At one point, the police opened fire on them. The first march of resistance took place in 1981. It lasted 24 hours. It became an annual event, and it helped spread the word. Most of the population turned against the junta. The dictatorship ended in 1983. The military gave up its power and agreed to elections. Raúl Alfonsín became president. He also issued a controversial law. It allowed former junta operatives to shift the blame. They claimed they had been just following orders. Only 900 officers were found guilty. The mothers of the Plaza de Mayo kept looking for answers. Mary Claire King came to their rescue. The American scientist used DNA testing. She found 128 missing children. One of the first identified children is Jorgelina Planas. Her father was killed in the Capilla del Rosario massacre. Jorgelina was adopted through the Catholic Church. Her grandmother moved to Sweden. She dedicated her life to finding Jorgelina, and she did find her. However, the adoptive parents wouldn't allow them to meet. Sadly, the woman died before they could reunite.